likelihood is that you fall into one of these three categories in regards to CVs. Number one, you don't have a CV. Number two, you've got one, but somebody else made it for you years ago and you don't have a clue what to do now. Or number three, you have a CV, but you're just not sure whether it's got that X factor to get you noticed. Now let us equip you with the skills to be able to put together a CV that's going to stand out from the rest and get you noticed for all the right reasons. After all, this is your one chance to shine. So what is a CV? CV stands for Course of Life. This is a written document that gives an overview of your education, your skills and your work experience. Sell yourself. As mentioned previously, you have between 10 to 30 seconds of that recruiting manager reading through your CV to impress them. Be positive. Show your skills and experience. Keep it brief and do always proofread it or get somebody else to look over it. So first of all, don't lie. It could be that the recruiting manager either knows someone that knows you or knows you personally, so it won't get you off to a great start. Don't go over 2 pages. As we said previously, if there's lots and lots of writing, it might put the recruiting manager off reading, even though you might have the right skills, the brilliant experience, but it might put them off. Don't include any of your date of birth, your gender, marital status, or your religious beliefs. It's just not needed. Don't leave gaps in your work history. If you do have a gap, or for any reason you're not working, fill it with what you did in that time. So if you were doing courses, if you were doing voluntary work, anything like that, include it, because it just shows more and more things that you're prepared to do to get work or to better yourself. Don't make any spelling errors. Always make sure you are proofreading it so these spelling errors aren't in there, because that will show that you're not paying attention to detail and you've submitted something that it's not actually your best work. Always use a professional email address, so don't put in an email address that you might have made when you were a bit younger or one that you use for friends. Make it like your name, so it could be oliver.williams@hotmail.com, gmail.com, etc. First of all, your name, your contact details. How can they see easily who they're reading about? Who do they need to contact to invite for the next stage? Make that your standout piece at the top. Moving on then to your personal statement. So this is 2 to 3 sentences on you. So highlight your best skills in your personal qualities. Having worked in internal recruitment, I would then like to generally see the work history. Include what your work history is, where you worked, what the role was, and then in bullet points list your responsibilities. As previously mentioned, don't make it too wordy, keep it brief and to the point. This should then be followed by your school history. So which school did you go to? What achievements did you get there? GCSEs, A-levels, MVQs, etc. Anything that any qualifications that you have achieved at school. Always make sure that you put the date and the month. It doesn't need to be the exact day of the month, but the year and the month would be helpful so that they can see how long it took you to achieve everything. Then at the bottom, list any other achievements that you think that you've got. It could be first aid, it could be voluntary work, it could be Prince's Trust, anything that you've achieved that doesn't come into work history and it doesn't come into your school history or college history. At the bottom, put a couple of lines about your interests. This way the recruiting manager can then see what you enjoy outside of work. So it gives them an insight into your personal life as well. Finish off the CV by giving 2 references. If you don't feel comfortable writing these references on the bottom, you can always put references available on request, and then they would have to ask you for that information. When it comes to applying to a job role, we could be one of hundreds, if not thousands of people applying to that same role. A recruiting manager is often short of time, so it is said that they spend between 10 to 30 seconds on average on looking at a CV before they make their decision. This means we need your CV to stand out for the right reasons. So how can we do that? Firstly, it must be structured in a well-organised manner. It must be accurate spelling and grammar. Your email address that you use for correspondence must be professional. It should be between 1 and 2 pages long. You should use bullet points and short paragraphs, and it should be professionally formatted.